Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're looking at couples in A-Level Sociology. This topic is about what actually happens inside relationships, not the romantic stuff, but things like how relationships are shaped by social forces, cultural norms, and economic structures. Sociologists study couple to understand who does the housework, who has power, who makes decisions, and whether couples are really becoming more equal. We will also look at how sociologists explain roles, power, decision making, and inequality inside relationships. Let's start with the functionalist view, especially Talcott Parsons. Parsons argued that couples work best when there is a clear division of roles. He believed men take the instrumental role. This means earning money and providing financially. Women take the expressive role. This involves childcare, housework, and emotional support. Parsons believed this role split was efficient and helped society run smoothly. He thought it reduced conflict because everyone knew their roles. From a functionalist perspective, different roles doesn't mean inequality. They mean specialization. However, this view has been heavily criticized. Feminists argue that Parsons' ideas are outdated. They are based on traditional families from the 1950s. They ignore women's unpaid labor. Today, many women work full time and do most of the housework. This suggests the expressive role is not shared equally. Critics also argue Parsons makes gender inequality seem natural and normal when it is actually socially constructed. Next, we have Young and Willmott, who take a much more positive view. They argue that relationships are becoming more equal over time. This is known as the March of Progress view. They introduced the idea of the symmetrical family, where housework is shared, childcare is shared, decisions are shared, couples spend more leisure time together. Younger women believe women entering paid work was the key reason for this increased equality. They saw modern couples as more democratic and more cooperative. However, feminists argue this view is too optimistic. Their research relied on self reported data, meaning couples said what they did rather than being observed. Men may exaggerate how much housework they do. Also, their research focused mainly on middle class families, ignoring working class experiences. Other studies show women still doing majority of domestic labor, even in so-called equal relationships. This leads us to Anne Oakley, one of the most important feminist sociologists for couples. Oakley strongly rejected the idea of the symmetrical family. Her research found that women do most of the housework, women do most of the childcare. Paid work does not automatically lead to equality. Oakley argued that women experience the triple shift, which are paid work, housework, and emotional work. This means women often feel exhausted and undervalued in relationships. From a feminist perspective, couples remain unequal because of patriarchal. Now, let's talk about power. Pahl and Vohl studied decision making in couples and identified different types of control. They found men usually make the most important decisions, especially when it comes to money. Women may control everyday spending, but men control major finances. This is known as hidden power because inequality isn't always obvious. Even when relationships look equal, power can still exist beneath the surface. Another key idea is emotional labor, developed by Ali Hochschild. She argued that women are expected to keep relationship running smoothly, calm arguments, support their partner emotionally, manage feelings in household. This emotional work is unpaid and often invited, but it adds to women's stress and workload. Hochschild argued that this shows gender inequality still exists inside modern couples. Feminists also talk about the idea of the dual burden. This means that even though women now work and earn money, they still do most of the housework and childcare. So instead of equality, women are expected to do two jobs, one at work and one at home. This idea is developed further by Duncombe and Marsden, who came up with their concepts of the triple shift. They argue women don't just do paid work and housework, but also emotional labor, things like managing relationships, keeping everyone happy, and supporting their partner emotionally. Feminists use this idea to argue that relationship may look equal on the surface, but inequality still exists behind the scenes. Not all relationships are positive. Dobash and Dobash study domestic abuse and argue it is often linked to patriarchy, male dominance, power, and control. They challenge the idea that families are always safe or loving spaces. Their work reminds us that power in relationship can sometimes be harmful. Finally, we have Anthony Giddens and the postmodern view. Giddens argues that relationships today are based on choice and negotiation. He introduced the idea of the pure relationship where couples stay together only if both are satisfied. Roles are negotiated, not fixed. Equality is more common. However, critics argues this view is too optimistic, as not all couples have equal power or freedom to live relationships. To sum everything up, functionalists see stability, feminists focus on inequality, postmodernists emphasize choice and negotiation. Also, here are some tips for exam. Always name a sociologist, explain their view, and evaluate it. And also, don't forget to link it back to power and inequality in couples.